Today's episode of Outside the Rack is brought to you by Kinetic Performance, the makers of the Gymaware. In today's world of strength and conditioning, data collections become the utmost of importance, and that's exactly where Gymaware separates itself from the competition. Because when we're sitting there and looking to collect data, what data are you actually collecting? And are the numbers you're looking at fitting into the exercises that you're utilizing? And even more so, are they going to answer the questions that you're looking for? Looking at different ways that you are moving the barbell through peak and mean, both velocity and power, is really what separates Gymaware from the competition. Being able to understand what your ballistic exercises are doing separate to what your strength exercises are doing really allows you to program at a much more specific level for your athletes. So hop on over to kinetic.com.au to see what Evan and his team have in store for you today.
Hey guys, Evan from Gymaware. We're really happy to be supporting Coach Demayo's podcast series once again. For those that don't know, our main product is Gymaware. It's the gold standard for measuring performance and implementing velocity-based training in the weight room. It excels in busy team training environments, and for many coaches, it's the Swiss Army knife of their toolkit. The Gymaware is used for athlete profiling, jump testing, fatigue monitoring, and for lifting within velocity zones. The system provides real-time feedback on individual targets, plus it's got an impressive range of leaderboards. Now, for those that are after a VBT device that's affordable, for the individual and for smaller groups, we recently released our new laser-based product, Flex. Importantly, it's been independently validated and proven to be both accurate and reliable. So if you're interested in either product, or you want to learn more about the velocity-based training and how it can help you as a coach, check out our website or contact us directly. So in the meantime, we trust you enjoy the Coach DeMayo's podcast, Outside the Rack.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the 43rd episode of Outside the Rack, brought to you by Kinetic Performance, the makers of Gymaware. In this show, we're just going to try to dive a little deeper into the minds of the top practitioners in the world of sport performance to learn a little bit more about who they actually are and how they got to where they are today. Today, we are joined by the Associate Director for Sport Performance at Old Dominion University, Eric Potter. Eric, man, thanks for being with us today.
What's up, Jay? Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man, good to see you. I'm glad things are going well, but, before we get too far into this, brother, who is Eric?
It's a great question. So Eric Potter is a guy who's played sports his whole life. And going into high school, I really started focusing on baseball. So I played baseball through high school and college and short career in the minor leagues. I got into strength conditioning, sports performance as a way to improve performance as a pitcher. And I, saw the impact of that, how impactful that was on my performance, increasing weight, increasing size, increasing velocity. I've been in the performance fitness industry, whatever you want to call it, for the past 10 years. I was in personal training for a short period, and then I've been in the Division I strength conditioning for the past 9 years at ODU. At ODU currently, I work with men's basketball, men's and women's soccer, and men's and women's golf. In addition, I'm a father. I have a 4-year-old girl, husband to a beautiful wife. I try to create things. I like creating different things. I try to solve problems. And one of my big mantras is health is wealth. So I want to make a positive impact on, how my athletes eat, train, and live our lives, but also on the, greater population. Try to make a positive impact on our health.
Yeah, man. And we talked about this on the show. A lot of that starts with the kitchen, right? And the
No doubt.
Freaking the rad posts that always go up every day about what you're pulling out of the butcher box and making. And yeah, I don't want to talk about it too much because I don't want to eat lunch at 9 a.m. But it's great stuff because it's simple, it's easy ways to look at things, and it's practical. Like, this is all you got to do to really just not eat like a 6-year-old.
Yep. Try to keep it as simple as possible. Eat real food, keep it simple, cook at home.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy that it's so easy it might work.
Yes, no doubt.
But dude, as a guy who played ball at a high level and has worked his way up, in your time in Norfolk, I'm excited to hear a bit about this. if you wouldn't mind, describe a learning situation that brought about an epiphany in your career.
It's a good question. I think I'll first start off with this with a disclaimer that consistent and sound training, whether that's conditioning, whether that's strength training, is vital to any athlete's performance and longevity and their overall health. But my response to this would be that, and this has been an evolution over years, and I'll give some examples, is that us as performance professionals, strength conditioning coaches, we need to take our ego out of it and be an ally and resource for our athletes, and kind of allow them to take part in the driving seat or be the driver for a little bit. And then what can we do to help them with this process and perform at the highest level? So I'll start with this. When I was in my short career with the Oakland A's, I went to spring training as a young 22-year-old kid, didn't know what was going on. We had this guy in spring training named Bartolo Colon. If you guys have followed baseball before, Bartolo Colon was one of the best pitchers at a really young age. He was, dominant. And when the Oakland A's signed him, he was, I think, almost 40 years old. So this dude was what you describe as obese. He was probably a legit 300 pounds and looked like he couldn't move. And I remember as a young, naive kid, I thought this was a joke. This guy just signed for $1 million. He was fat. This is ridiculous. And then you'd watch him, and his skill at that sport was unheard of. He could throw any of his pitches at any spot, any single time he wanted, and he could get guys out and make guys look like fools. He wouldn't do a lot of the running. I never saw him lift, but he was so good at his sport, his skill level was so high that he didn't need to. He had mastered that skill. And at the end of the day, he was a pitcher. He wasn't like we've all said that he's not a bodybuilder, he's not a powerlifter, he was a pitcher. And so he perfected that skill. So that really stood out to me. And then as I progressed into my career, my first year working with baseball at ODU, we had this left-handed pitcher. And I just struggled to get him, to work harder, to, push through things. He'd quit really easily. He was, if we looked at those strength tests, he was at the bottom of every strength test. He wasn't fast. He wasn't explosive. And so I'm thinking I need to do better to, get this guy physically better. Like the coach is going to get mad at me. This guy's so bad at all these things. Then he ends up, being our best pitcher. And then he gets drafted. And now he's in the major leagues. So, again, that first month or two in the offseason of training this guy, I got so frustrated. Like, this guy's like so weak. He's so soft. He's so this, he's so that. Instead of thinking, okay, this is where this guy's at. How can I help him get to where he needs to go? Be more of a resource. And then, this has continued to progress. And then the last one I kind of mentioned last time I spoke with you, we had a pretty good basketball team a couple of years ago. Our two best players were seniors, all conference players. We had one guy who had been to a couple schools, 7-foot guy, 290 pounds. And, me trying to be the strength coach was saying, hey, we're doing this, we need to follow this. And it just wasn't sticking. So I allowed them to have a little more freedom. Hey, how are you feeling? Here are some options for today's lift. We're going to do a single leg movement, but what would you prefer to do? We're going to do this. What would you prefer to do? Oh, you're feeling kind of tired, kind of sore today. Maybe we'll dial it back. So giving them some more freedom, some more autonomy in that training. At the end of the day, we ended up winning the conference. And granted, that's not my strength training. Giving that option is not why we run the conference. But I realized, hey, I got to give my athletes a little more autonomy at times. Let them kind of have some decision-making ability. And so then just through all those examples, I've kind of realized that my role is to be more of an ally and a resource, not as much as, oh, I'm Eric Potter. I know all the answers. I know how to get guys strong. At the end, it doesn't matter. They're trying to be better at their sport. You have to help them be better at their sport, through all the things that you know. And so again, take your ego out of it, be an ally, be a resource for that athlete.
I think that that idea of being an ally and a resource is one that it takes a lot of us a few situations where we mess up, to figure out. And it's funny, like nothing against pitchers because they're interesting individuals, but it seems like most of us have a pitcher story. Like with me, like one of the best pitchers we've had here, the joke was he would always take 3x10 water break, like in his lift. And it's like, what are you gonna do? Like the guy's throwing gas, like he's our day one starter on the weekend. And then oddly enough, goes out to the left coast and opens a CrossFit gym, when his playing career is over. So he actually liked
Yeah.
the weight room later.
Yeah.
But it's like you look back and it's like you have these fights and these arguments and this this like fake battle for nothing. When you look back at it 15 years later and you're like, wow, how much better could I have been,
Yeah, and I think again, it's like, what is the main objective of our job? It's to improve the performance of that particular athlete in their sport. And so, again, strength and conditioning, every aspect is very important. But using our tools in our toolbox, how can we make that athlete better?
Yeah, dude, no doubt. But to get to that point and be able to identify those like face palm past situations,
Correct.
you've got to be willing to dig and ask questions.
Correct.
So that leads us to number 2. If Eric could ask one question and he knows he's going to get the answer to it, what would that question be and why?
I really like this one. So I could go a couple of different routes. I think the one, how strong is strong enough, is always a good one. We can dig deep and, this person's squat is this, whatever this threshold may be. Are they strong enough to move into more explosive things? Or, do we need to keep working on strength values for whatever this may be? So I think that one is always a good question to ask. Same thing, this guy benches this much. Do we need to keep working on bench, or do we work on other things? Then another one I think is really interesting is, what is the best way to get through to a disinterested or challenging athlete? We've all had those before, and there's lots of different ways. It could be a communication issue. It could be they're disinterested and you need to find ways to connect with them. It could be a lot of different things. So those two I think are really interesting. But the one I'm going to go with today, and we've had a discussion before about I have an interest in finance and business. So my question would be, if you viewed yourself as a business, would others want to invest in it? And so here I'll go through this. Okay, so say I'm the Eric Potter organization, Eric Potter company, and then when you're looking to make an investment, you look at a lot of different things. Okay, so one would be, what does this company do? Okay, so what does Eric Potter do on a daily basis? So, he trains athletes, he has certain meetings, he writes up plans. What does he do to impact those that he's supposed to be serving? And then also, what are his other responsibilities, family-wise, friend-wise? What is this company trying to do? And so you look at it, I'm trying to improve the performance of, my athletes, trying to create relationships with whoever that may be, and then be a good father, husband. And then you look at, okay, so that's what that company does. Do I like that thought? Yes, no, whatever it may be. And then you look at kind of the revenue. So that's how much income is coming in. So I'm going to look at it. Okay, so this could be from our perspective, how much money are we making in our role? This could be your base salary. This could be other projects. But then also I'm going to look at it from a learning perspective. So what is this person bringing in on a daily basis learning wise? And this could be through conversations with other people. This could be reading. This could be watching podcasts or listening to podcasts, watching different things. So what is this person bringing in on a daily basis? Okay. And then you look at, your whole portfolio. So your portfolio would be, we'll start with like assets. Okay. So this could be your financial assets. So what do you own? What do you have part in? If you own a side business, what do you own in that side business? This could be your house, real estate. And then also assets are your family. This could be your wife, husband, kids, friends, your whole network. So those are your assets that encompass your life. And then moving on to your assets, you have your investments. Okay, so these could be, again, your financial. What are you investing stock wise? What companies do you think are going to change the future? That's the way I look at it from an investment perspective. I try to invest. This is my personal opinion. I try to invest in companies that I think are going to change the future. So smaller companies, growth companies that have a long leadway, 5, 10, 15 years in the future. Then that second aspect would be cryptos. I think me and you have had this conversation also. I think cryptos are the future of infrastructure, software, and also currency. So you have, your financial, your stocks, your companies, you have your cryptos, and then like what skills are you investing in for your future? Your career, whatever it may be, what skills are we investing in? Networks, I think I need to do a better job of this as a whole, but those people in your career, that network, your family network, other people reaching out to different maybe things outside of your career to learn new things. Your nutrition, what are you investing in on a daily basis, nutrition wise? We all know that nutrition is a huge part of how we feel, how we perform. What are we putting in that body? Training, this could be lifting, this could be yoga, this could be CrossFit, whatever that may be. What are you doing training wise on a daily basis to invest for your future? Other health practices, whatever that may be. Relaxation, what projects are you creating at this point to help you on a daily basis, but also for your future? Then one thing, I've kind of dug a little deeper to recently is sustainability. Okay, so I view this as investing for the future. What is this company doing to invest for the future environmentally? And so one thing that I did recently was got solar panels in my house, which I think is a pretty damn cool thing. And just looking at the future of what's going to happen from an energy perspective. How can we take better care of our earth? And again, this could be me personally investing in companies that support recycling, organic farming, regenerative farming, different ways to make the world a more sustainable place. So those would be your portfolio, your assets you own, what you're investing in the future. And again, that's the financial investments, but also what are you doing to make yourself a better person? And that's the learning, that's investing in your network, that's the nutrition, that's the training. And then liabilities. So this is debt. Obviously, we all have some sort of debt. So this could be financial debt, how much you owe on student loans, your car, your house, but also people and things that are holding you back, or people or things that you spend time on that there's not much return on investment. So not a very high ROI. And again, everybody's a little bit different. And so you got to look at what makes the most sense for you. Me personally, I don't like watching TV that much. That's just me personally. I don't think it provides a whole lot of value, but I'll read an article about Bitcoin for an hour. So I think that provides a much higher ROI than watching TV. But again, what makes the most sense for you? What is driving your, what are you trying to get out of your life? And so then looking at your assets, investments, income minus the liabilities, and that's how we want to create the best individual person business that we can. And I think this is you asked like why you look at it like this. I think, we're all trying to, as strength coach, we're always trying to progress. We're always trying to grow. So how are you growing as a person on a daily basis, but also what are you investing for in the future? This could be, again, those different projects, those different assets you own. What's that ultimate goal in 5, 10, 15, 20 years? And what are you doing on a daily basis to get there?
That's rad, dude. You just sit there and rich dad, poor dad strength and conditioning. For those of you that haven't read the book and don't understand what he's talking about with assets and liabilities versus income and expenses, It's like $9 on Amazon. And if you haven't read it, pause, open the Amazon app. There's a buy now slide. You can do that. It'll be there in 2 days, because that's like that book. I don't know about you, but that's the one that changed my entire point of view on
It just makes you
pretty
look
much
at things
everything.
it makes you look at things a lot differently, no doubt.
No doubt. That's rad, dude. I love that thought process. And I'm pretty similar when it comes to like reading and listening to things versus like television. But I do have like the shows that we watched like just to kind of turn my head off for a little bit and laugh, as kind of a way to breathe every day.
Yeah, no, relaxation's also key.
Stress management, man. And in order to do that, you've got to be able to escape every now and then, which
Yeah.
is our last question, brother. So what's your escape?
I would say one is spending time with my wife and daughter. So my daughter's almost 5, and she's just a life changer. She just makes you have much more gratitude for everything you have. You know, just the look of joy she has is just, it just changes your day. You know, every time you see that. You know, but playing games with her, going on walks. She's recently got into playing sports. She loves baseball, and I didn't push it on her. I promise. She hits left-handed. She just loves getting her little bat and just crushing the ball. It's awesome. And then also cooking. I like cooking. Trying to get her involved as much as possible, and then just making food that is simple, healthy, nutritious. I would say 2, training, you know, being active regularly. So that's, you know, lifting. I lift as regularly as possible, but also I enjoy stretching, going for walks, just trying to be as active as possible. And then third would probably be learning about different things. You know, obviously the strength and conditioning is important. And I like learning about different aspects of that. But I think learning about coaching, communication, leadership, and on the other end of the spectrum, learning about finance, sustainability, different aspects of nutrition, biohacking, different ways to get the body to do things that are probably a little outside the box. At the end of the day, I'm trying to make my life, you know, the best that it can be and make the world a better place. So I just try to learn as much as possible, spend as much time with people that are important to me.
I dig it, man. And again, if you guys aren't following him on Instagram, you don't understand like what you can do with a butcher box, because there's and then it's, you know, you post it like the best worst times. So it's like, or it's just that Instagram knows like my hunger times, because it'll be like all of a sudden I'm like midday, or like I just get out of the swim club and I'm walking in and I'm like, and I just flip it open just to be like, I want to kill a minute or two. And I'm like, dude, man, Potter just posted dinner. Get off your butt and start cooking. Like, look at this. Like, you know, luckily it doesn't show up most of the time when I'm at Wegmans. Otherwise, I'd be freaking living in my car at this point. But, you know, but I love it, man. That's awesome. And I couldn't have guessed that your child would pick up baseball.
Crazy, yeah. I thought she'd like soccer, but yeah, she loves baseball.
Never would have guessed that with you.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
But nah, brother, this is awesome. I truly appreciate your time, man. And we'll be in touch soon, brother. This is great.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Cheers.